Shipuki Jukshin Metokchang Lirabling Shin Yende Genpadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Huwagi Chokun Namda Shingla Drupa Shuk Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niratayami Chudang Soki Choknama Chanshu Badu Dagni Kyatsuchi Taki Chinchegi Pe Sunamki Pinche Sangye Chupa Shok Chudang Soki Choknama Chanshu Badu Dagni Kyatsuchi Taki Chinchegi Pe Sunamki Chola Penche Sangye Chupa Shok Chudang Soki Choknama Chanshu Badu Dagni Kyatsuchi Taki Chinchegi Pe Sunamki Chola Pinche Sangye Chupa Shok. Can we offer those to the altar? I take the recycle. So we spent a lot of time this weekend on Guru Yoga, which is the essence of our practice. So now we've actually begun the stages of the path. This is the first step. So may your Heart Lama lead you every step of the way. And may you have everything you wish for and beyond. Because that's what it'll do if you practice the Guru Yoga as we've spoken about it. And I know that each one of you here will bring to people that ultimate happiness and teach them how to end their pain. So please teach others what you've learned. It's really, really a fortune that you could hear it in such a way so detailed as we've talked about it. So please teach others about how and why to find a spiritual guide quickly in their life, in this life. And don't waste another second. Think of it that way. So we're going to continue today on the source of all my good, following the outline of the Lamrim. And we're on the second division of instruction. So after relying on your Lama, it's how to train your mind. So we've only covered the first verse. Mm-hmm.
You said the first sentence is enough.
Yep. We can go back to bed and go home and go back. Yinten kungi shige dunsen se sushin tempa lamgi sawaru lekpa kone bepa duma yi gupa tempo tempa jingilo blinchik ni pedoe tensang di shintun yinku jinshin shegen yen yinsen kuntun yingpo lempelo gunchi mepa kewa jingilo. Bless me first to realize that the excellent life of leisure I found just this once is ever so hard to find, ever so valuable. Grant me then to wish and never stop the wish, that I could take its essence night and day. So this is the contemplation of your spiritual resources and opportunities. Leisure and fortunes. Just by being who you are already, you have these. You have certain opportunities and resources. You have a certain chance right now. And you have to grab it. So this first talks about the good opportunity and resources you have now, but may not have later. So you really have to jump on it right away and just embrace it, grab it, use it, and get more. So don't wait any longer, because they will fade away. I've seen it many times, you know. It just wears out. Yeah. Oh. So the question should be, how to urge your mind to do that, right? To not wait any longer and go and do it right away. How to urge your mind, in your mind, a strong feeling to derive the meaning of this life, of your life. That excellent life of leisure that you have found just this once. Once, right? Because in the future, it'll be extremely difficult to gain again. We must think that. Technically, they say in the scripture, we have only been a human once in our history. We've been all those other beings before. You have to think that, to realize how difficult it has been found, this life. That it's not that easy. Think of how many more beings there are other than human. Right? Many more insects and bugs and so on and so forth. Those we can see. I'm not talking about the ones we don't directly see. But if you really count the times that you have been a human, even in, let's say you even were human in another lifetime, which you probably really were, because you made it this far, so I'm sure you were. But let's say, if you really count the times that you have been a human in your present circumstance, because your life is really pretty perfect right now, you have all the conditions to study and practice. You know, you can say in the past, which are countless lifetimes, no beginning, no end, you have never reached this high as you have. You know, you've never gotten to this point, because everything is here. So your present conditions now is just this once. Your body is complete, and you have an opportunity now. So how can you be sure it's going to happen again? How? You know, given the way we act most of the time, it's doubtful. And this is not an exaggeration, really. You have a very brief moment on the top of the karmic food chain, you know, and then you will drop. This life is so precious. The one chance you have now in a sense, you have this one opportunity. You really should think like this. You have to think like this. We have to urge the mind to move quickly. So there are traditional ways of thinking. There's a list of 18 different qualities that you have. And there's a traditional way of teaching how difficult it is to reach this life as you have it. And it's talking about the causes, which is almost impossible, and thinking of how complete our body and mind are to get enlightened. So you could divide the resources that we have, already have attained, right, into 3 or 18. So to take its essence night and day, the essence is to practice the Dharma, a teaching, the ideas. And this is what can hold you from dropping. If you didn't have the teachings, the ideas to hold you anymore, you would drop. So there's 3 levels to practice the Dharma. There's 3 levels to hold, to suspend, to keep you from dropping. First one is do good things, do enough good things, so that after you die, you don't go to a realm of pain. Make sure you don't drop. Practice, which means holding. So you don't want to drop that far. If you do enough good things now, then after you die, you won't drop that far into a realm of pain. The second one is in the future, do not seek to drop to the level of where you are now. So your motivation is not to even have this again happen. This is temporary, painful. This level in the human realm is a condition where you'll die and you'll lose it. You'll lose every single thing that you have. So take the essence and don't even drop that far. And then the third is the highest form of not dropping is take care of everybody. Make it your life goal that everyone won't drop. That's the highest form of Dharma. If you want to get the most out of this body and mind, make sure that others are taken care of. So in that sense, you can practice all day long. Having just that idea in your mind as you do all your activities throughout the day is, I will take care of everybody. I will help every living being. Just the thought while you're doing everything that you do, wash the dishes, whether you're studying, whether you're meditating, whether you're taking out the garbage, whether, feeding someone on the street, whatever the level of it is that you're doing, doesn't matter. The thought at that time being that I will take care of everybody. I am doing this job to save all beings, Nobody's going to stop you from thinking while you're at work, for example. You could be thinking anything while you're doing your job, even, you know that, because you do. How many times are you really thinking of that task that you're doing? I mean, you have to focus a bit, I'm sure. But so many thoughts are coming in our mind in one moment as we're doing something. Nobody stops you from thinking. When you're at your job or in school or whatever you spend your day doing, and thinking, I am here doing this job, whatever it even may be, doesn't matter, right? I am here doing this job to save all beings. Why not? You could think that.
It's true.
Yeah. Nobody stops you from thinking.
No, but it's true that every function that we do benefits others. The work that we do, the money that we give to the government, everything that we do really does do that. So if we do that, we can stop all the idle chat, stupid, ridiculous thoughts.
There you go. Very good. Exactly. Because those things are coming in your mind all the way anyway. They come in your mind anyway. Exactly.
And they don't serve even us, forget others.
They really don't serve you.
Right.
They actually do you harm.
Right.
Unfortunately. Thank you. So that's an opportunity to transform your mind. You use your opportunities, your resources, on the way to work, lying in bed, anywhere you can do it. I'm laying down for all beings. I thought that this morning. Like, do I have to show? I could do it from here. Yeah. I'm standing for all beings. I'm walking. I'm using my precious time for every living creature. Make every moment a service of others. Then you're really taking the essence of life. You won't lose your resources. So, we do still have to go through the list of the 8 traditional spiritual opportunities. And these are defined as, these 8 are defined as not having the 8 lacks of opportunity. So it's just looking at it in the negative. Not having the 8 lacks of opportunity. Many of you have heard these, but I will repeat them. 1, holding wrong views. You've been born a person who doesn't have wrong views. Views about compassion, living an ethical life. Even in this country, we could say, generally speaking, the intention is that everybody is equal, that decisions are made in a democratic way, that we live in a country like that. We don't have to break it down and go into maybe what choices are really made, but in general, we live in a culture where there is a lot of good worldview. And you kind of don't know it till you go to other cultures. But generally, we're in this category, wrong views. It's also the idea of future lives and karma. We're a little weak in that area as a culture, where that kind of view you might find in other cultures. But we're here now. We all are here, and we do recognize that as a worldview. We do have it. Maybe not the majority. The second one is being born as an animal. So remember, you have to turn these around, right? Because we're saying it in the past. These are lacks of opportunity. Being born as an animal. It takes 1 second to have that shift of perception, and you turn into that kind of a being. Oh, less than a second, even, I could say. How about that? It's just a shift in perception. But you don't have that now. Being born as a craving spirit, what else do we call it? Hungry ghost, Preta, however you. If we could see them, we would try to avoid that kind of a rebirth, if we could see them. You know, there's... If you could see them, you would try to avoid. That's all I could say. We can go into what they are, but I think we could save that for another time. I think many of you have heard about them. This time you weren't born that way. Being born as a hell being. And they always say in the scripture that most humans will take a birth there. It's very difficult to keep out of the lower realms. It's really a sad thing. It's easier to drop that far than it is to have exactly what you have now. Being born in a place where the teachings are not available. Teachings about truth, emptiness, karma. How to live a spiritual life, right? Just that. How to live an ethical life. Just teachings. That. Any teachings like that. Being born in they say uncivilized place, where people don't keep the vows of morality. In a country where people don't keep morality, don't know about it. You know, general, thou shalt not kill, steal, you know, things like that. We do have that. Sometimes, right? Generally speaking. Being born as a human who is developmentally or physically challenged in a way that prevents them from practicing the teachings. In a way that prevents them from practicing the teachings. Some kind of drastic mental or physical challenge that would prevent you from practicing. There are certain... You know how it is. You know how it is when you're really sick and you can't practice. You know, you just don't feel well and you can't practice. So you can imagine being challenged in such a way where it might be too difficult to practice. And it's just based on that. There's not, if you have this, it's too difficult. It's just if it creates that kind of difficulty for you. So, because the body has to have certain elements and certain drops, and you have to be healthy with a certain vitality to read, study, learn, and practice. To reach enlightenment in this life. You do need that. That's also why we have to do it quick before we get what? We're not challenged right now in many ways before we get what?
Too old.
Too old, that's right. You know it's going to get more difficult. Now, of course, you don't have to die and you don't have to get old, so. Being born as a long-lived pleasure being, a worldly deity. And you could think that we're in the desire realm here, and especially where we are in this country, so comfortable in our material resources and things like that. We're dangerously close to that. You know, just enjoying the pleasures of life. You know, this country is not... we don't see that kind of outright suffering when you walk down the streets, and we see a little bit, right? New York City, we see a little bit, but there's so many other beings that we see that are enjoying the pleasures of life. So you know what I mean. We have enough pain to actually inspire us to work harder to get out of it, and this is what you need: to not be born in a place that's just full of this pleasure that will one day end, and then you shoot all the way down to the lower realms. So, If you have these 8 leisures, you can achieve Buddhahood. But to achieve this kind of life is not easy. You really must just start thinking, well, maybe it's not so easy. And that's something that you have to think, to urge you to move, to do it, to practice, to use what you have. You have such resources, you have such opportunities. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Your intelligence, and your kindness, it's unbelievable. Must use it. There are 10 qualities of spiritual resources, personal qualities. So you could say there are 5 that relate to yourself, and then 5 that relate to others, and it's including some of the ones we mentioned in a way. So those that relate to the self, to be born as a human being, to be born in a sensual land where people keep the vows of morality. So it's kind of what this is now looking at it in freedom from the lack of opportunity, right? A place where they say where the traditional vows of morality are, and that in the scripture it says, where people who monks and nuns and people who have taken also, the Praktimosha vows and things like that, vows of morality. To be born where all your faculties are intact, so you have your sense powers. You can see, you can hear properly, you can read a book, you can hear a teaching. Very difficult to find. And then the 4th one is that you haven't committed one of the 5 immediate misdeeds: killing your mother, killing your father, killing an arhat, drawing blood from a Buddha with ill intent, and causing a schism in the Sangha when Lord Buddha was here. So that one we always can't do, because Lord Buddha is not in Shakyamuni Buddha. Faith in the teachings, attracted to the teachings, which is rare, which will wear off. If you're not careful, you'll lose it. So cherish it and take care of it. And then there's the spiritual resources that relate to others, the outside world, the outside things that you connect with, even though they are still a projection, right? That you connect and you interact, so it relates to others. To live in a world where a Buddha has come, your Lama is here, a Buddha, and some scriptures say that this one is referring to the historical Buddha. But Shakyamuni Buddha has been here, because we have the teachings, we have the words, right? In a world where his or her teachings have been spoken, not only live in a world where the Buddha came, but spoke and taught. In a world where the teachings have been spoken but have not been lost, because we're talking about them now. But it's very close. The scriptures are always still in danger of being lost. I mean, so many scriptures from Tibet were lost when many of the practitioners had to leave. Many of those scriptures were lost. They had to leave them behind, cannot be carried. Right? Just like that, in a sense, right? So take care of your books, take care of your texts that you have. Protect the Dharma. In a world where people still practice the teachings, You see the progression? Okay, the Buddha the Buddha was here, okay. And then a world where the teachings was just spoken. And then where the teachings have been spoken have not been lost. And then where they still practice. Then in a world where you can enjoy the support and the conditions to practice. Because you know your practice requires a certain amount of conditions just to do it on a day-to-day basis. Right? And you do have certain support. You have a place to sit and meditate, maybe. It's ever so hard to find and ever so valuable. Life is difficult to find, and it has really great value. So you must have created this from a previous life. It's very difficult to find. Recognize we have to recognize the things that you really need to do to create this condition to happen again. Which virtues, which non-virtues, which just actions, things you say, things you do. What can you do to create it to happen again? I think you know. And then we want to learn also how to make that more powerful, so we can assure that it will happen again if we can, and to happen quickly. So looking forward, you must think it is difficult to find again. Come on, you know it. If you're thinking it would be easy, what would you do? Stay at home in the rain in bed today. It's easy. I could take the day off, right? I mean, yeah. Whatever the easier things we don't have to do, right? It's not so difficult in New York City right now, today, I should say, to get water. But especially today. What am I thinking? I'm just thinking of turning on the faucet. So why not waking up and thinking, what do I have to do today to create the causes to continue to have water in my life? How many times a day do you think that?
But there was that somewhere, right?
There was, right? That's what I said today. Once in a while, we'll hear some message, water shortage.
For 2 hours.
Water, yeah, right.
That's true.
Yeah, water maintenance in building. Water will be shut off, and then you're thinking, what did I do to create having no water? Exactly. That's when we think of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I was getting out of the shower. I was literally finishing showering. The light went on.
For you.
Right. That's when you think of it. Once, and that was, like you say, 2004. That was 3 years ago. So how many times do we think that? So if we were thinking that is an incredible karma to have water, travel somewhere where there isn't, or there is some, but you're like, I think I need to boil it and to do this and to do that before.
Purify.
Exactly, right? So you have to think of those things. So we have to think, it's okay. So we have to think it's difficult to find these things. So give someone water when they need it. Make your offerings of water, very important. Turn the faucet off. If it's leaking a little, call the plumber. Do what you can. How much do you pay for a bottle of water now? I mean, it is running out. They're shipping it in. The good water is not necessarily coming from the United States, is it?
Not many places.
When you're buying it, the good one. Just think about it. It is there. It's a lot of money for water these days, actually, some places. They won't even let you carry it on now, right? It's running out. It's running out. So anyway, just think of that. And we're talking about something much, much, much more precious, right? So you can imagine how difficult it would be to find, to have this moment to sit here and even think about these things, to create the causes, to have these kind of teachings. Grant me then to wish, and never stop to wish, that I could take its essence night and day. Appreciate this fortune. Develop some kind of urgency to make the best use of it day and night, all the time, as much as you can. To maintain even that kind of a desire, that kind of urge in your heart to want to make good use of time, just even that, just good use of the time, and to even have one who can guide you and bless you to do so because of how you're thinking. We can easily be distracted from that. Easily be distracted from that. To gain that kind of aspiration that will bring value to your life. Where we will learn more and more and more is difficult to find. So, take the essence night and day. It's without breaking for even a second. You will try to use it all the time. Eating, sleeping, walking, drinking, sitting, standing, That urgency in our heart should remain in our minds all the time. And you know that that's difficult to find. You know that. As much as you want to, as much as you're dedicated to your practice and to studying and helping others, you know how difficult it is. You just know, just based on your own life, you know. And you want to. I know you all want to, right? We all do. That's why we're here, because we want to do that. We want to help others. We want to, be the best that we can. We want the wisdom. We're thirsty for it. But all the time? Now, granted, you should, it doesn't mean that you can't take a break and go and enjoy yourself. But you'll be thinking, you're at the beach for others. You are. Easily. So these are the teachings on the steps that we use to train our minds, that once we have learned to rely properly upon our spiritual guide, that includes, the urgent advice that we should try to get the very essence out of our spiritual opportunities and resources. And it includes the explanation of the method of getting the essence out of these resources and opportunities. So realize how impossible it is to get to the point where you are now. Where you are now is impossible. And the potential is great, huge, tremendous. Where you got to by now is impossible. I'll say it again. And what you can do it right now is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Each and every one of you. Unbelievable. Just contemplate, just for a moment, about the, I don't know how many, but 5,000, 6,000 parts that we have in this mechanism of a body that we have. It's very complicated, this body, right? Very complicated system. There's a lot of parts in here, a lot of little, and they're, we're trying, and it's complicated to have all these parts working in harmony. Pretty impossible. Some medical traditions say that they are never in balance, in harmony. So, billions of bodies have failed. But generally we don't think about that because this body that you have is currently functioning. It's working. So you don't think about how many bodies have failed. Billions upon billions. For every one of you, there are billions upon billions of beings and bodies that didn't work. They didn't come out right. They died. Different kinds of consciousness just living in blackness. No form. Never see a light, never hear a sound. But this time, yours is working. The karma to have an eye, to have a nose. See, 65 consciousnesses of kindness. Every second that you're listening here, every finger snap, right? You're using up 65 conscious acts of kindness you're using up. For you to be here another 3 minutes, okay, you will use up thousands of meals and that you cooked for other people, thousands of opening doors for others. The karma you're spending is incredible. It's a great fortune to have. But for every piece of the body working in harmony, for a minute is tens of thousands of kindnesses you did for other people. We almost can't even grasp that thought. It almost is like, 65. And then you think, it came to my mind, okay, 24 hours a day. Already I'm thinking, well, how many does that equal a day? Can I? If we could figure that out, then maybe I can, okay, how many do I have to do? I mean, right away I want to know the number. How many do I have to do? So it's a very fragile point where we are. Don't think you can repeat these circumstances. Just contemplate that. We get up, we eat, we sleep, we take care of ourselves. Every hour you are awake cost hundreds of thousands of kindnesses that kept you at this level. We can't hope for that. We can't act on that. You have to be thinking of nothing else but other people. To try to generate that, you'd have to be thinking of nothing else but other people, serving them on some high level to even have any hope of getting back to 5,000 parts working together. We can't hope for that, you know. Every person here is representing billions of other creatures that just didn't work out. I mean, now you have to think that it's hard to get. Hundreds of thousands died at birth. Jason Kappa says in this verse, you find it once. You get one chance like this. One chance, that's all you get. Everything you need is here. You have a body and a mind with good conditions. What you did in your last life, you can't replicate. You have to be very careful with your life. Don't do anything that's even slightly risky with your life. You know, that's one way of looking at it. Protect your life. It's so rare to find. Protect it. Protect others, their life, right? Just remember how many acts of kindnesses it took to get you to be right here, right now. To even have just woken up this morning to get here. And then the other side of that, we can think that this body is going, it makes you eligible to get enlightened. It makes you eligible to get enlightened. And that's the secret version of Deljord, your opportunities and resources. There are elements in the body of a human being born of a womb, right? In this particular corner, they say, of the desire realm, which they call, Jambu Ling, the southern continent. It just means the world as you know it right here. It just doesn't mean the whole desire realm. If you don't have these 6 components in your body, all these secret parts of your body that you need to practice the higher teachings, then you can practice it. But you have them. You have them. Among those billions that have bodies that have failed, you know, those false starts of bodies, the beings that never made it, those beings in some kind of dark place, seeing nothing, just in awareness, you're very, very lucky. 1 out of a billion. 1 out of a billion. Know that. And on top of that, the elements in your body that could allow your body to change into light in this lifetime, you have. Huge potential. Huge potential. Don't think anything less. You can reach enlightenment in this body now, this life. You can do it. You have all that you need. In one way, thinking of all those bodies that didn't work out, and there's an incredible sadness. You know, you have that. There are so many beings in pain. There's so many universes, you know, that didn't make it. On the other hand, with a little bit of effort, well, we could think little, probably a lot, using your elements, with a little push in this life, you could break through, and then you can go and save them all. Help them. It's like you've climbed to the top of the evolutionary chain, And for every person on top, there are billions that are billions of years away from reaching that point. You're up at the top and you have everything that you need to break through. Because the Dharma is holding you up. You are not dropping yet. Yet. Everything is perfect. It really is. You may not think so some days, but it really is. If you play your cards right, this body will just flip over into a body of light, like that. It's perfect. Start serving people now. Everything you've done thus far has built up to this moment of your spiritual life. You lived billions of lives to get here. You should feel happy. But just work a little harder. Be happy. Carefully manage your life, doing everything very mindfully. Because you are there. You are there. You are about to enter the mandala, to enter a divine world. Do it with all the grace, all the efforts, all that you have. And then you will just enter. Think of the enlightened being that you want to become. That object your mind is thinking of, that being, that enlightened being that you want to become, is very sacred. If you're on your way at a certain point, shooting down, dropping, that thought itself of thinking of the enlightened being you want to come to help every single living being can turn that around. Whether you want it to or not. It will turn it around. Wanting to help others. That's the ultimate form of taking refuge, right? In the Buddha you will be. That is a very strong virtue, and it will pull you up from falling. It will pull you up from falling. So you want to think about that. You want to imagine of what it would be like to be able to do that as much as you can. As much as you can in the day. That will help to generate the seeds and the virtue that you will need to not drop. To create a condition better than this. And this is pretty good. Right? By imagining what we would be like to be an enlightened being, what happens is then we are seeking to have a meaningful life. Seeking to give our life meaning. You know, now I possess this precious body and mind, endowed with every spiritual opportunity and resource, something which is difficult to find. But when found, it is of supreme importance. I swear then I will never spend this life meaninglessly. I swear that I will get the essence out of it. I beg you, my Lama, my angel, bless me. Give me the ability to do so. I will never waste this body and mind endowed with these spiritual opportunities and resources that are so hard to find. How to get the essence? How will I get the essence of this life? The meaning of this life? I will rely upon my Lama and rely upon them as being indivisible from a Buddha. And then I will put the practice, my practice, the very essence of the advices they give me, I will put to practice in the highest way. In this way, I will easily attain the highest state of enlightened being. In this way. In this one life itself. So, in this part of understanding your opportunities and resources is actually preliminary, introductory, before you even reach the first capacity of the lesser, medium, and greater paths. And as we go through these verses, there are certain, and we'll go through it, according to the verses, practices shared with the lesser capacity, 3 vehicles, right? Medium and greater. 3 levels of instructions. And what we just spoke about is just getting even on those paths. Just that. Relying upon your Lama and using your opportunities and resources. Luso Thua Chi Chuba Shin, Yudu Jikpe Chiwa Jimpa Dong, Shiwe Jesu Lu Dang Vima Shin, Karnak Landre Jason Jangwala. My body and the life in it are fleeting as the bubbles in the sea froth of a wave. Bless me first thus to recall the death that will destroy me soon, and help me find sure knowledge that after I have died, the things I've done, the white or black, for what these deeds will bring to me, follow always close behind, as certain as my shadow. Practices for those at a beginning level. Impermanence. Luso, body and the rest, my life, are not firm. The life force, easy to be destroyed, unstable, fragile as a bubble of water. This excellent human being life, how long will that last? You have to think about it. There are many factors that can cause a life to end and destroy many lives after that. Small things bring about a death. And, when we look at the contributing factors. Okay. Yoa is moving, something that cannot stay in one place. Chi Chubur, the water in the ocean, wave, right? You've seen that. You've seen the bubbles come and they finish really quickly, because another wave is coming, That's how quickly we're moving at the life. This life is like that. Compare this life to the sea froth of a wave. Our lifespan is very short. This life will finish quickly. Nyudu Jikpe Shiwa Drimpa Dang. Bless me first thus to recall the death that will destroy me soon. It's easy for our lives to be lost. Easy. Easy. It's not so hard to die. It's hard to live. Really. You know, Nyudu Jikpe quickly can perish. Chiwa, death. Drenpa. Keep that in mind. You have to remember it. It won't be a very long life. Death will come soon. No power on the universe can help when it arrives. Nothing. There is no way to add to our life when we're dying. No machine, no... It won't. Every minute we are alive, we are that closer to death. The time we have to practice is limited before we have to die. So the correct motivation to have at this point of your practice that we are speaking of in this practice shared with the lesser capacity is impermanence. Impermanence has certain reasons, and thinking of impermanence will bring about certain logical reasons and so forth of why you must take the essence of this life now. And it's meant to, at this point, make us very, very aware how temporary our lives are. Right? There's something down there? We will lose this human being's life. So right away you got to start thinking of this meaning, even if you can't get the full knowledge of what that means, impermanence, even if you can't get that, you'll gain something from your time and effort if you're just thinking that this life will end soon. Even if you don't have the whole wisdom of what that is. Somehow, just the thought will generate, I want to put some meaning to this life. You know many people who have, in some ways, had the fortune for someone to tell them, you're going to die in a couple of months. I say it's a fortune. Why? Because then suddenly they turn around and they say, oh my God, every minute I'm going to do something useful with my life. Right? If you knew when it was, then you might. So we could decide that impermanence is definite, right? You have to decide that this life is impermanent. If you can't decide that, then you tell me. If it can't bring to mind at least that this life is not going to last, then you're not going to make the next step. You see? And just about everyone, a human being generally, most human beings everywhere, without thinking of all this other next life, past life, anything, most people will say, yes, I am going to die. Most people know that this body will not last. So it's a very, preliminary awareness, realization to have. So you have to have at least that. And then understanding that actually, which is what we don't often think of, but still, most people, I would say everyone will say, I don't know when it's going to happen. Some might say, I don't know when he will take me. Still, there's some sort of an awareness that it could happen at any moment. But you see, that is not enough. Because then, okay, you know that it's going to be a couple of months, that it's going to happen, I'm going to live my life to the fullest. What does fullest mean? Because if you're not thinking of where this life is going to shoot you to, the next life, then what you do in that 3 months might make a difference. I've heard many people say what they might do. And so have you. Are those going to be good causes necessarily for the next life? So you still have to go a step further. That's when you're getting into a bigger level, a higher level. They just might want to travel all the places they haven't seen, and that's enough to take the essence out of this life. What good is that going to do? It could. Could plant good seeds of emanation all around the world to see how many billions of places you can reach in your enlightenment. You could use it. I'm not saying you can't. But what is your motivation for doing that? Just so you could say, I died seeing every single country in the world? Depends, right? Or did I travel to see every single country so I can start planting the seeds of how I can see all that at once? It is. It is in some ways, you can say, in cultures where they are more aware of past and future lives and karma and stuff like that. Or maybe it's not taught there, but it's a understanding within the family system. Yeah. Oh. And sometimes we're in a better position because we have to really analyze it and learn it. We don't take it so for granted as sometimes in cultures like that, then it is taken for granted. So it's a little mix. But also, though, they have the seed, so it can open really easily if it's taught to them at such an age. Really nicely, it would be. Their seed is really ready. It would be nice. Maybe you'll do that.
I'll be teaching some children.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. Good. Shije Jesu Ludang Drima Shin, Karnak Lendre Jason Zhangla La. And help me find sure knowledge that after I have died, the things I've done, the white or black, and what these deeds will bring me, follow always close behind, as certain as my shadow. Death comes. Mind doesn't disappear. It just separates from body. The mind goes a long way. How far? It goes with the karma. The mind goes with mental affliction and is forced to rebirth, accordingly. No choice. So how many bad deeds do you have? The mind will follow. As well, how many good deeds do you have? The mind will follow. Which one is stronger? Which one will lead the way? It will follow as a shadow follows a body. When you move your body, a shadow, will stay with you. Similarly, your karma follows. you like a shadow. What kind of rebirth is determined just before you die? In our minds, it depends on, the virtue or the non-virtue mind that is awakened at the time of death. Again, and do you want to wait for that moment anyhow? It depends on what's activated at that moment. With that understanding, then, okay, what do I do? Like if you reach even that point of understanding, which is big, because at that point, it's like, okay, well, what can I do? Learn about it. You learn about karma, just like as you're saying. You learn as much as you can, as early as you can, as quickly as you can about cause and effect, and taking refuge in emptiness. Some kind of firm, as much as you can, realization of how things follow you. In general, you know how it follows you. You move to another apartment. You move to another relationship. How much has changed? Maybe a little. Maybe a little, for a period of time anyway, right? Maybe a little, but a lot of things don't change. It just follows you wherever you go. How many times have we thought, if I just move, if I just, get a new partner, if I just get a new job, it'll all be better. We think that. How many times? All the time. If I just get a new shirt, I'll look better. I mean, we're thinking that all the time. And it doesn't work. The confusing part is sometimes it seems like it does for a while. And then all of a sudden something happens and you're like, oh, that again. Hopefully it happens sooner than later, because then you might have wasted a long period of time. But sometimes you do see that something changed and you grab the essence. Then that's good. You don't want it to slip away, because then that will follow you close behind. So it's not even enough to take refuge in emptiness. You must then adjust your lives and develop the practice to do virtue, to do things in a way with that kind of awareness. Like, I know that all things are not self-existent, and it is because of my doing and saying and thinking this. So therefore, I should say, do, and think this, and maybe not say, think, and do this. You see? So it's one thing to have that thought, that yes, it is dependent upon what I say and do, this result, but now I must do it and not do that. Nepa tempo nye yepe suk trashing trawa nam kyang pangwa da yesok tada juba jepa la taktu baktan dempa jingilo. Grant me then ever to be careful to stop the slightest wrong of the many wrongs we do, and try to carry out instead each and every good of the many that we may. Nipe sok, whatever kind of collection, avoid even the slightest misdeed, and learn positive, virtuous acts to cultivate with your understanding of karma and its results and emptiness. Realize how many things you've collected, and how many things you have to do to collect new ones, or what you have to do. as well. How strong it has to be, how powerful it has to be to collect such goodness, such fortune. So you try to collect new ones, and you and the old ones you try to clean. So the main method to obtain this practice is a certain mindfulness that one has to have. Recollection, alertness, watchfulness, right? Those two qualities will bring the mind back to a virtuous practice. Remember, this is the essence of the practice for those of the lesser abilities, right? Beginning abilities. This is just the beginning abilities. So if you're not pursuing a lot of virtue, if you're mindful and you keep recollecting and being watchful of what you do, then that'll help you to bring your mind back onto that object. Trashing trawa, even small deeds, also try to clean them and get rid of them. Even the slightest wrongs I do, even the little things. Not only the big things, but the little things. Strive to cultivate virtues. Try to strive to collect, gather as much as you can the virtues. So these two are the first steps of gaining the meaning of this excellent human being's life. Purify and collect. Then, how can you do it? Bhakdang Dempa. Be careful all the time with your body, mind, and speech, thinking what is proper to do, and try as much as you can to do so. So the first step to gaining the meaning is that being careful all the time. Then you will get used to it. Then you will get used to it. And you'll just be careful more of the time. You know that, because there are certain things that you do probably more naturally than others. Some things come very easily to you. You know that wouldn't be a good thing to do. You know it wouldn't be a good thing to kill someone. So you may not get that close to doing it, right? But that's big. You may know that it's not good to punch someone as a solution. You may know, so naturally you won't be doing that. You're not walking around punching everybody you see that disturbs you. You may know that it's not good to yell at them. Now we're starting to get closer into the circle, right? Yep. So you might stop after you raise your voice and pull back. You may know that it's not good to say a certain something. Now you've made it to the middle of the sentence where you stop. You know what I'm saying, okay? Just know that that's how it goes. And find which point you are at. Because some things you might not have to be so watchful for, and some things you must be. And it really is dependent on you. Which things followed you as a shadow. Know what it is. Which kindnesses come easy for you and which don't. Which ones you need to cultivate and which ones come easy for you. Notice that. Know it. Become mindful, watchful, recall. Think about it. To gain good meaning, you have to realize that things are perishable, right? And that there are very few causes that make our life longer Many make it shorter. So do not postpone putting into practice what you know, knowing how to gather virtue and purify. Death will come to us quickly. You will waste and lose this excellent human life. You will lose the understandings you have gained. So get the meaning right away. Know that your happiness came from the good things that you've done. It follows us like a shadow. Jepe minyam jukneo kungigo, yiten mirang sipe punsaki, nyeme krikne tarva dewala, dunya chempo kewa jingi lob. Bless me to perceive. Oh, that's wrong. With the seemingly good things of this life, I can never get enough of them. They cannot be trusted. They are the door to every pain I have. Grant me then to strive instead for the happiness of freedom. So, keeping that understanding, if you want to create more and more happiness, more and more good fortune, resources, opportunities, you know that it is related to certain causes. Therefore, collect as much as you can. And then here is where we move to the next level in this verse, to the medium practitioners. I want to create the causes to happen in the future, in my future lives. Right? Because we were talking about what can I do with this life? What is this life we were talking about? Where did this life even come from? And what are the elements of this life that we have to be aware of, acknowledge, so we can know what we need to do. Now is thinking that you will still get a good suffering life. Very possible, most likely, where there is still, and there will still be no real happiness, only a human being's life happiness, where you still cannot be satisfied all the time. We just want something bigger and bigger and bigger and more and more. Bless me to perceive all that's wrong with the seemingly good things of this life. Because that is the door of our sufferings. All the good things we have found have a suffering nature because you cannot trust them. You will lose them. They will finish. So then you try to get better things. And then we get unhappy because we can't get the things that we think we want. At some point we have to realize that the things we thought would bring us happiness do not. Because it wears out. Mainly because it wears out. If it makes you happy, figure how to keep it. Very difficult to do. Think of all the things that bring you the greatest happiness and how many times you've lost something like that. How easy it disappears. How quickly. It shifts to being the thing that causes you pain instead of happiness. How many times is that? Especially like in a relationship or in a... leave it at that. You can't be satisfied with anything in our current condition. Whatever is good about your life now is unstable. It will change. It is changing at this moment. Yiten Mirong. Learn, gain realizations. You can't get this realization if you continue to be satisfied with the unsatisfactory stuff. You have to be you have to be tired of the way life is and strive for something better than this life. Tired of a world where things, good things, end. Why? Because of the past things you've done. A realization of the causes and effect. It wears out. You want it to stay, create the causes. Do something about it. You want that thing that makes you the most happy? Then do something about it. Don't just enjoy it and wait for it to wear out and then say, oh yeah, that thing. I heard that. Yeah, that's what they were talking about. It wore out. It's gone. Generally speaking, that's too late. Because there's something about the energy upon which you have when you are experiencing that goodness that you need to perpetuate it. Give it away. Dedicate it. Share it. Once it's gone, what are you going to do? Give it to who? You see? Okay, granted, once it's gone, you may come to a realization that, oh, it's gone, so now what do I do to create it? So yes, it could be helpful, but you might be so withdrawn, of all those resources, you can't quite do it. It might have worn out so much that you just have the thought what it would be like to give, and you just can't get out of bed to give it because it wore out that bad if you wait till that point. You see? So that there should be some, you need to be in it, to be doing it. So you can't wait till it's gone. You can't wait till you die to help someone. You need the body and the conditions, so you do it now. You can't wait till you run out of money to give it away. Although you should. But, we can't wait for that moment. And things wear out also because, we have the imprints to see it wearing out. So if you have the imprint to see it being multiplied, being given, that in itself is what's creating it to come back. You see? If you have the imprint to see that your joy is being given to another, you're not seeing it wear out, you're seeing it being passed on. So it's not that the object disappears. It is your mind that has the imprint to see it disappear. And a projection of your mind can reverse it. So start now. And you need all these steps and understanding of the things that we're talking about, really to do it nicely. Because it's not just going to happen. Don't count on it to just happen. Don't count on those opportunities and resources that you have now. Don't count on it. sipe punsok, excellent qualities of suffering, of this suffering life. Know what the disadvantages are, right? Decide that in the suffering there is no real happiness. Does real happiness exist or not? You have to think about it and look for it. Does it exist or not? Real happiness. The answer is Tarpe Dewala, the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. You have to figure out what you must do quickly to get there. You have to move into that eventually, quickly. You have to move up to the higher levels of practice quickly. To get it, to achieve it, dunya, chempur, strong mind, you need to have this strong mind to get the real happiness. To gain that knowledge is very difficult. And you have to request, please bless me to achieve it. Kewa Jingilo. Develop the wish, a longing to have freedom from this suffering life. Develop a renunciation, understanding the disadvantages. The disadvantages that it is not a long-term happiness. It is temporary relief to have even a higher rebirth, because it will not last. So you develop a sort of a renunciation, right? That, and you're striving now for liberation out of this suffering. Those are lower instructions to gain a higher rebirth. The medium instructions is to eliminate suffering completely. The desire to free self from samsara. You must be unsatisfied with this existence. You know, this life that we lead is attractive to us. You know, because of the pleasures we desire. But the nature of those experiences never satisfy. It only enhances our desire of a point where we want more and more, but never really enjoying what we have. You're only wanting more and more, and that just kind of bonds us to the suffering of it. Rather than knowing how you can get more and more. Instead of just wanting it, you know, and then using it up by trying to get it in the wrong ways, which would be mostly by harming others and not helping them with those resources. So, you decide which is more important, this life or a future life. You decide the future life, since this life is only one limited life. And then you understand that the future life, happiness, is more important. So to achieve it, you practice cause and effect. You decide you want to achieve the ultimate happiness. So you have to develop this attitude to get out, and you have a mind of renunciation. So this verse teaches us how to generate renunciation. So to do that, we realize that there is a pure happiness to gain, rather than just this temporary happiness. So now I must achieve that, and I want that very much. But you must use the happiness you have to gain that. You don't just, give up everything. How are you going to give anybody? help if you don't have it. So renunciation is not about, okay, let me stop. I don't know, you tell me what you think it is, what you have to give up. We always think, when we think renunciation, oh, I have to stop enjoying music or enjoying a good meal. Or I have to, I don't know, you tell me. I don't know what your thing is. But we always think that, huh? Yeah, your comforts, yeah. I should wear ripped clothes because I have renunciation. We have vows. You can't have a whole, which I do actually, for more than a certain amount of hours. You have to sew it. So don't you tell me renunciation is those ripped socks. I know you don't. That's what I'm saying. You know that. We talked. Okay? You know what I'm saying? It is not that. It is not that. Don't give up everything, because then you can't give it. Don't not enjoy music, then you can't share it. You won't be able to hear the holy words sung to you. Renunciation is very difficult to understand. It's an attitude. We are fortunate to have the things we have. Use it for others, please. Give it away. You'll have more to give.
And you can get more for the benefit of others.
Exactly. But you must have that view in your mind. What happens if you give it all away, all those comforts and things? Then you're going to be sucking it from other people. Now you're in a jam. Now you're indebted to others. You've just created another crazy cycle. For the benefit of others, suddenly they're actually then they're giving to you. So okay, well I'm free. All right, so I'm helping the others create good karma to give. You know, I mean, come on, come on. You don't need to do that in that way. I don't know. It's difficult to explain renunciation in that way. Especially anyway, you have to gain that strong renunciation. And then you think, well, what practice, after you gain that, what practice do you have to do? Namdak Sampade Drangpa Yi Jendang Sheshin Bakyu Chenpo Yi Tenpe Sawa Soso Tatpala Drupa Nyingpo Jepa Jinkilo. Namdak Sampade Drangpa Yi. Namdak, pure mind, to free ourselves, to undertake the path to perfect happiness, the path to liberation. How? Tenpa Sawa Soso Tatpala. Main practice here is the practice of sultram, morality. Ethical way of living. The root of all knowledge, should be produced by a pure attitude. Pure attitude is gained by reflecting on impermanence and having and to turn your mind, having enough aversions to turn your mind from this suffering life. So here is where grant me to give the greatest care to make the vows of morality the essence of my practice. They are the root of the Buddhist teaching. You went through the different types of vows that one takes, the different kinds of, the 10 misdeeds, abandon those. These are the Praktamosha, monks and nuns, Vinaya. And then Jendang Sheshin, Jempa, recollection. Remember the objects to be practiced. So you're keeping the proper objects in your mind. And with that in your mind, you stay on the object. Your mind stays on the object either properly or not. And then you have to use Seishin, which is that watchfulness, the alertness, and that mental awareness of staying on the object. So do you lose the object or not? You have to check all the time. And you have to keep focused on the goal as much as you can. And meditation, staying on the object, is a concentration, right? But meditation is not always sitting on the cushion. Think about it. How long do you sit on the cushion a day? Some of you told me. I know. And then you got how many more hours to your day? So you tell me, when are you really doing your practice? Wait, you have to really do your practice.
At work.
Walking, eating, sleeping, working.
Right.
Don't worry, I won't tell the boss what you're really doing. Maybe we can one day. They need to know, right? So they could do it too. And then they probably have a very successful business, actually. In time. You'll know when you can teach them that. This is your everyday yoga. You know, if you're only waiting to do these kind of practices on your cushion, then forget about it. You've wasted the day. Because you know that, you know. So, Bakyu Chenpo, strong, careful mind. With this kind of mind, you have to practice the moralities. Drupa, practice. Ningpo, may your practice be like that, keeping morality nicely. Please give me the power and ability to do it. Please bless me. So this is a medium practitioner's main practice with strong renunciation. That's what gets you to the next level of practice, that strong renunciation. After you get that. So trying every day, you know, to do the right thing, not harming others, helping others the best that we can, knowing what you know, up to this point of how to follow the steps by step, one by one. You know, just knowing that, what to do one by one by one. And remember, your Lama will lead you on those steps, one by one. They will lead the way. Your spiritual guide, the wisdom that is poured from them into you, will lead you. Continue to surrender and follow every single instruction they give you. They know exactly what you need, when you need to move forward. Not necessarily when you think you need it. But surrender and you keep to the path. We'll stop here.
Great.
And then we'll finish the text in the afternoon. Puki Tukshin Me Tokcham Vidavling Shin Yende Genpadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uwagi Chokun Namdak Shingla Trupashok Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamniratayami. Okay. I think, you know, it's raining. I think many may be not going outside too far and stuff. I think we'll start earlier than 2:30. 2:30? Is that good? Is that enough of a break for you?